My name is Eric Roof. I'm one of the assistant coaches at Eastern Michigan. I came from Michigan State University, so the staff's about 2 months in on the job. Like I mentioned, I came from Michigan State University. I work with the hitters and the catchers. I came with Mark Vandermeer, who's the head coach. He was the pitching coach at Michigan State for 6 years. He's now the head coach at Eastern Michigan. He's brought me with him to help out with the hitters. So that's a little bit about me.
My name's Jordan Kerr. I'm also one of the assistant coaches at Eastern Michigan. I also came from Michigan State. Just finished up playing 2 years ago. Mark Vandermeer, I was actually his first recruiting class at Michigan State. And then when I finished playing, he gave me a call and said, hey, I got the head coaching job at Eastern. I want you to come help out on my staff. So I work with the outfielders and the hitters as well. So.
Hi, how you guys doing? I'm Brent Matson, a freshman right-handed pitcher at Eastern. And I'm actually from Canton. I played in the GCYBSA. So this is where I grew up, this is where I played, and I know what all these kids are going through. I did the same camps and everything like that, so happy to be here.
I'm David Lott. I'm a middle infielder. I'm a freshman at Eastern Michigan, and I'm from Farmington Hills, Michigan.
Hi, I'm Matthew Church. I'm a freshman outfielder from Atlanta, Georgia.
My name is Alex Wansky. I'm a catcher, freshman at Eastern Michigan from Chicago, Illinois.
Josh Bernberg, freshman middle infielder from West Bloomfield, Michigan.
Basically, we'll start off fielding drills. So we start our infield off, as you can see right here. We call it the hands drill. So basically, they're on one knee, and they're just throwing it back and forth at each other, giving them a nice one good short hop. They'll tell you that they start every drill, and it's just working through getting the ball. There's a lot of like young kids and stuff that you see, they feel the ball back in their body, so it just gets them, forces them to get out and get through the ball. So you just, it's like the pitcher. I kind of showed you the pitcher right there, and then I'll walk you through. They're about 10-20 feet away from their partner, give them a nice short hop. I'm allergic to bees. So.
All right.
Basically, you can work your forearm, and then you can work your back arm, where you're throwing it to your back arm. You're working, getting through it because it's the same thing. Of course, I put a picture of Derek Jeter because he's the best. He's one of the best, and he gets through it the best.
Timely fall.
That's right, exactly. And then the next drill, four-corner drill. It's basically works on double plays. I remember talking to John, and he wants to get the kids used to like double plays and stuff. So you'll line up guys. You'll have 4 cones, not too far apart from each other, but the kids are just working on flipping their double play flips. And the next guy receives it, and then he flips it to the next guy, and it's just goes around the circle, and then you can go the other way, where you're flipping the other way, so it'd be like at second base. And then we work on getting the glove out of the way, so you can see the receivers getting their hands out, ready to receive the ball. So that's that drill. And then if you flip the page, outfield. Just another thing that I work on with my guys every single day, and Matt will tell you that we hit this every day. Is we start out with outfield footwork. It's basically you can kind of see, you can read it here, where we're here. I'm standing there, and then we'll drop step to like a gap, a ball in the gap. Like it's just getting used to your footwork, and then we'll do over the head. So I believe that at the next level, that the footwork, because everyone can catch the ball at the next level, and outfielders can catch the ball, and it's getting to those balls that makes the difference, that separates the good guys from the great guys. And it starts with your footwork. You can see the guy in the picture right here, how he's got his footwork going back and how that is. And then kind of a find the ball drill, where you start off, and this is one I love doing with kids, because it's fun, but you're getting stuff accomplished at the same time. Is the guy is laying on his stomach face down, and I have 3 balls in my hand. I throw one up, and I say go. And he has to pop up, find the ball, and as he's finding the ball, I catch the ball. I'm already throwing the second ball, so he has to catch that one, find the other one, catch it, and then as he's coming down, the next ball is going up too, and he's got to get to it, and you can kind of spread it out to where he's running for the ball. So kids love it, but at the same time, it's actually accomplishing something. So they're working on finding the ball, catching it, and get to the next one, kind of taking their eye off the ball. Flip it. This is kind of the throwing progression that we go through a simulated one, not quite like this, but I want to do this with the kids today. Start on one knee, work on getting the good arm right here. These working together, and then we'll have our guys walking around, kind of showing them the proper technique, like how to get your arms separated. Because a lot of guys, they just go here and they throw it at this age, so that'll be good for them. And then we'll walk through that. It might be simulated because we don't want it to take too much time. We want them to get going in the drills, but we'll walk them through that once it starts. And then I'm going to turn it over to Coach Roof, and he'll kind of explain our hitting philosophy and stuff like that. So.
Okay. A couple things with the hitting. I always start out at the basics and kind of build off of it. So I always start out with the stance. If we get in a proper stance, we can eliminate a lot of errors right from the start. So just like building a house, I start from the ground and work our way up. If the foundation is strong, we can always build off of it. If the foundation's not there, we're going to have some trouble later on. The 3 keys that I look at when I'm looking at hitters and talking about hitters: balance, rhythm, and timing. Balance, rhythm, timing. Balance is huge because that keeps your head quiet. When your head's quiet, your eyes aren't moving. When your eyes aren't moving, you should have good enough hand-eye coordination to kind of square up the ball. So with the batting stance, I like to have my feet a little bit wider than shoulders width apart, so there's a good foundation there. My toes should be pointed back to home plate. You'll see some kids when they get in the box, their toes may be pointed to the catcher or to the pitcher. That's going to cause some problems as they get older. So to keep it simple, we just want those toes pointed right back to home plate. Again, about shoulders width. If it's shoulders width, then when we get to our stride a little bit later, we'll be taking a short stride rather than a big wide stride. Again, that's going to throw off my balance. As we climb up, also with our feet, we need to make sure it's square to the pitcher. So pitcher, the catcher, the feet are lined up. If we're lined up to the shortstop, we're going to have a little bit of a hole in our swing once we start our swing path. Same thing, if the toes are pointed to the second baseman, now we're more so open. If we don't get back to being square with the stride a little bit later, it can prevent some problems with our swing. As we go up on our body, our knees should be bent a little bit. Bent helps us also stay balanced. If our knees aren't bent, it's going to be tougher for me to be balanced. So we want to bend those knees just a little bit. Hips are also going to be square. Shoulders will also be square to the pitcher. You'll see some kids that will line up really good with their lower half, and then they'll turn their upper body. And all of a sudden now they can see the pitcher with just one eye instead of 2 eyes. So if we can keep our shoulders also square, meaning lined up from the pitcher to the catcher, I can see the pitch. When I can see the pitch and my head's quiet, I should be able to make contact and square it up. And then with our hands, we want to make sure our hands are in a good hitting position. A good hitting position right from the start. Kind of the rule of thumb is if you went from the top of your head over to your shoulder. And that imaginary box right there, anywhere inside that box would be pretty good. Okay, so they start getting too low or way too high or way too far back, it's going to be tough to be consistent. And that's the whole goal of hitting, is to try to be as consistent as possible. So if we can get our hands in that proper hitting position right there from the start, it'll be simpler when we do our load, it'll be simpler when we do our stride. The simpler we can keep it, the easier it is to repeat it and stay consistent. So that's the stance that we're talking about. We also want to make sure our hands and our arms are relaxed when we're in that position. If we're too tense, when we swing, we're going to be slow. Our muscles don't work well when they're tense. When they're nice and relaxed, they work quicker. So we want to be nice and loose when we're in that batting stance as well. So then when we're in the stance, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to load. The load is as simple as just taking your hands back just a little bit. So no load is bad, too much of a load is bad. We'll think of that knob of the bat as a flashlight. Okay, we just want to shine that flashlight right on the catcher. Okay, that allows some separation with our hands. That allows us some power as well. So once we're in our stance, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to load. Step 2 is then we're going to stride. When we stride, we want to make sure we're striding to the pitcher. You'll see a lot of young kids either step in the bucket, which means step away from home plate, or step to home plate. As soon as you do either one, it makes you susceptible to certain pitches. So as you climb the ladder and you go from Little League to travel ball to high school, it becomes pretty easy out if the pitcher can throw it where he wants to based on where you're striding. So this is a key that they need to get in the habit of striding to the pitcher. A pretty simple thing to do is you can have them just draw a line in the dirt, and then have them stride, and then throw a ball on purpose. That way they don't swing, and then you say pause. Where are your feet? If they're in the right spot every time, they should be able to hit every pitch. As soon as they stride to the home plate, it'll be tough for them to hit the inside pitch because their hips won't be able to turn. Same thing if they stride away from the plate, it'll be tough for them to hit the outside pitch. So a good drill right there is just if you're front tossing or throwing them BP, every once in a while mixing a ball on purpose just to see where their feet are at. Again, if the feet are in the right spot, we can build off of it. We can build off of it. So the next step is they're going to stride. And when they stride, again, like we were talking about, stride to the pitcher. And then step 3 is the swing. The swing, we want to make sure it's a level swing. We're leading with that knob. We're staying palms up, palms down. When we make contact, regardless of the pitch, inside, outside, up, or down, we should be palms up, palms down. That allows us to really drive the ball. Also, what you're going to see with a lot of young hitters, they don't use their legs. Their power comes from your lower half, throwing or hitting. So when we hit and we make contact, this heel should be off the ground. My hips should be fired and turned, square back to the pitcher. That's going to allow me to drive the ball. And then when you finish, you can finish with one hand or two hands. It's kind of a personal preference. Just make sure you're also balanced at the end. Balance at the end. So some good hitting drills, dry drills to start, just to make sure that the balance is there. They should be able to swing and not move once they finish their swing. If you see them swing, a lot of young kids will do this and fall all over. Their balance is all of a sudden gone. And that's what the pitcher's trying to get them to do when they're at the plate, is to get them off balance. So if they're going ahead and swinging dry drills and they're falling over, they're losing their balance right away. They're losing their balance right away. Tee work, you can never do enough with the tee work. Never do enough with the tee work. There's so many different drills you can work on, hitting the ball inside, outside, away, middle, high, low. Another good drill you can do if you have two tees is put a ball inside and put a ball outside. So you have two tees there, both tees have a ball on top of it. As soon as they load and stride, you either tell them in or out, and then they have to make that adjustment and hit the ball that way. Big key with the tee drill and anything else is just hitting the ball where it's pitched. Hitting the ball where it's pitched. A lot of young kids, even kids in high school, they want to pull everything, or they want to hit everything the other way. It's really tough to hit if you don't hit the ball where it's pitched. If you don't hit the ball where it's pitched. And then you're just going to build off all that type of stuff. Yes, yeah.
Your grip.
Grip.
Interlocking?
No.
Okay.
No, I was just kind of hanging here.
Golf.
We actually, believe it or not, we actually have a guy on our team that does interlock. Does interlock. Yeah, you'll just do a normal grip. They talk about the knocking knuckles lining up.
Yeah.
I'm more about just these elbows staying relaxed. Okay, so if that means the knocking knuckles line up, that's fine. But you'll see a lot of young kids when they hit. See how their elbows come up here? Elbows come up here. I have to bring it down to get back in the hitting slot. So it's easier to keep it simple and have like a 45-degree angle instead of a 90-degree angle to get back there. So yeah, your knocking knuckles can line up, but just make sure those arms are nice and relaxed. Big side is that lower half. We're using our lower half. Yes.
I was just going to say, talk a little bit more about hitting the ball where it's pitched.
Hitting the ball where it's pitched. Okay. So when we're working on dry drills, we want to make sure we're hitting the ball at the right position. Okay. So if we're hitting the ball right down the middle, when I make contact, if I were taking a photo from the side, I should make contact even with my front foot. Okay. So the ball, my bat, should be even with my front foot. My hand position, my top hand's palm up, my bottom hand is palm down. That's going to really allow me to drive the ball. Okay, that's the pitch middle. So if you're seeing a lot of young kids try to hit the pitch middle and they're way out in front, notice that my head's off, my balance is off. It's going to be tough for me to hit the ball hard consistently. Okay, so when we line up that tee, we need to line up that tee when that foot lands, that it's even with the ball. And that will allow them to hit the ball hard off the middle. Okay, that's the middle pitch. The outside pitch, the only thing that changes on those three pitches, middle, in, and out, is your contact point. So the swing path never changes. The swing path stays the same. The only thing that will change is the contact point. So with the pitch away, we're going to let that pitch travel just a little bit more, and now we're going to hit it inside our front foot. Okay, so we talked about middle, we're even with our front foot. Now the pitch away, I've got to get a little bit deeper, so I'm going to back that tee up a little bit, and now I'm going to hit it to my opposite field gap. So now I'm making contact back here rather than even with my front foot. That allows my barrel to stay on the ball and allows me to drive it hard in that opposite field gap. Okay, that's the ball away, and then the ball in is the opposite. Now we're going to have to make contact in front of our front foot. Okay, so we talked about middle, even with our front foot. Now the ball in, I'm going to have to get some extension on it a little bit more so I can drive it to my pull side gap. So you can really take a look at it when they're making contact, how they're making contact. There's some drills that they stop at contact so they can feel where their hands are at. A lot of young kids, once they make contact, their hands will be in this position. And I'll show them a drill a little bit when I'm over there with the hitters. You're a lot weaker in this position. And that's when you hit the ground balls and you don't hit the ball as hard. We want to hit hard line drives. Hard line drives, and talking about, just hitting the ball where it's pitched. So that'll help you out. It all starts off a tee. All starts off a tee. When they're hitting the ball away, you put the ball on the outside part of the plate and you just back it up just a little bit in their stance. Middle, even with their front foot, and then inside, a little bit out in front of their front foot. Yes. Another thing that's really important to me is you can never be, Steve Garvey told me this. Steve Garvey played at Michigan State. He had a chance to come back and talk to us. I played at Michigan State. He said you can never be too strong from here to here. So grip strength is really important for hitters. Grip strength is really important. There's a tire drill where you get an old tire and you get an old bat and you try to hit the tire and you try to make sure that bat doesn't fly up, just because it builds the forearm strength. The forearm strength.
We use a rice bucket.
Rice bucket, that's another one. There's 100 out there that you could use. Anything that build up that forearm and grip strength to allow you, when you're in that hitting position, for the ball to jump off your bat. So the hand grippers that you've probably seen back in the day, those are real good. Rice buckets, tire drill. There's a bunch of ways to really help improve wrist strength and grip strength. Any other questions? Some common flaws that I see with young hitters is mainly the balance. The balance. A couple things too. Their head will fly open instead of staying down just a little bit longer. So a good drill you can do with that, if they're hitting the ball and they're flying open a lot, tell them after their swing, keep their head down. So tell them after their swing, keep their head on home plate. You ideally don't want to hit like that, but it'll keep them with their head down just a little bit longer so they're concentrated on the ball just a little bit more. So wherever they hit the ball, off a tee, if you're front foot to them, once they hit the ball, their head's just staying down to really emphasize on keeping their head down instead of flying open like that. Just getting that good habit with the stride. With the stride is really important. Where they're striding back to the pitcher and they're not striding to the plate or away from the plate. This back leg, like we're talking about, a lot of young hitters will hit and they'll just hit with their straight upper body. So from their belt up. We're a lot stronger from our lower half. You can squat a lot more than you can bench. So the power comes from the legs. If we can get them to generate some power with their legs and use their legs a little bit more, they'll be able to drive the ball just a little bit further.
You guys got questions?
Any
Feel free to
questions?
jump in, yeah.
What about training with wood bats? We train with wood bats a lot.
Yeah, training with wood bats is good. The big key with the bats is make sure they can handle it.
That's right. Gotta
Okay.
control the barrel.
Exactly. So if their metal bat, let's say their metal bat's like a 28 ounces or inches, 18 ounces, and now their wooden bat is 25 ounces and they're swinging like this, it's going to mess up their swing path. So wooden bats are fine because the barrel is a lot smaller.
Sweet.
Yeah, and it's a lot harder to square up the ball with the wooden bats than it is the metal bats. And it teaches them a little bit better of a swing. Yep. Yes.
So when a kid's 10 or 11, how do you know he's got the right bat? Weight,
How do you know he's
height?
got the right bat? You can just kind of see by his swing. If you start seeing that barrel drop a lot, then it's probably too heavy. If it's not too light, like it's too small and he has to be on top of the plate, then you can probably tell it's a little bit too small.
Is it all about speed and getting it through the strike zone at that age?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. Ideally, once you get a little bit older, you want to it goes to a -3, which would be 33 inches, 30 ounces. But that's when he gets to high school. At that age,
Now
you're
we're
probably
talking
looking
10.
at you're looking at like -10. is probably the inch to ounces.
I think one of your players, he had a suggestion.
Yeah.
I do as well.
I had when we were talking about picking the right bat, what I was always taught is for at least weight-wise and also height-wise too, because it's drop 5 or drop 7 or drop 3, is you'd have to hold the bat out, like even with your shoulder, for 30 seconds. And if you started dropping, then it was too heavy. That's what I was at least taught.
That's what we do. Drop 9 at that age.
Drop 9?
At that age, drop 9. Sure.
Right hand or left hand or both? It doesn't matter.
I did both.
Common?
But it's a lot harder than it sounds.
All right, you guys got anything else? Other questions?
That's how they don't get a broken arm sometimes.
Really?
How many swings off the tee? We take 10 at a time.
Yeah.
And then switch.
I would keep it short. I would keep it short, just like an at bat. You're not going to take, very rarely are you going to have an at bat more than 10 pitches. So keep it short, because the swing's about muscle memory.
Yep.
Okay, when we start taking 15, 20 swings, now our swing path is getting a little bit sloppy because our muscles are a little bit tired. And then you're teaching like a kind of a bad swing, So to go back on swing path and muscle memory, I would also have them swing with a little bit lighter bat on purpose and a couple swings with a little bit heavier bat. Okay, I had a hitting coach in the minor leagues named, his first name was Toby Hara. He played with the Rangers. His best hitting coach was Ted Williams. Ted Williams said,
Who?
Ted Williams?
I'm just kidding.
In the offseason said to swing with a heavier bat to build up the forearm strength, okay? And then you're gonna swing with a lighter bat to build up the bat speed. So I'll have some of our guys swing with a fungo for 10 swings. Again, the muscle memory, teaching them to fire quickly. And then, okay, maybe a couple with a little bit heavier bat, so they're building up the grip strength and really trying to get through the ball as well.
I guess one thing.
Uh-huh.
So my son today, our coach throws a wiffle ball.
Yeah.
Is there a rhythm or rhyme behind the wiffle ball versus a regular ball?
It's probably a couple things. One, it's easier to pick up. You hit with a baseball on the field, it's going to take 15, 20 minutes to pick up those balls. But it's also teaching him a couple things with the swing path too, making sure he's staying through it, staying down. But the big thing is it's easier to pick up. It's easier to pick up, and it's a little bit quicker. The good thing is though, if you ever see those small golf balls, that's a good drill to do as well with like a fungo or an old broomstick to really teach hand-eye coordination. So they get the hang of hitting a small ball with a small bat. It'll be easy once they go to their normal bat and a normal size ball. So that is a good drill. You can front toss or soft toss with that, and you can throw it to them as well with that one as well.
What about pitching machines? Because I'm not a fan of pitching machines. I have one. Those right, left-handed curveballs. But a lot of parents like to put their kids on pitching machines, and I tell them it's good for timing, but when they got to learn how to hit and really focus in on being good contact hitters.
Exactly. Yeah, I used to hate hitting off pitching machines just because it's tough. It's tough to hit. A couple things that pitching machines will do. They're at this age. We're here in probably another year or so. They're going to start seeing some curveballs. And if they're not used to seeing them, they're going to get really scared. Probably ask these guys when they first saw their first curveball, they're out of the way, and then it ends up being right down the middle. So the good thing with the machine, you can fire that thing up and play with the speed so it's nice and slow. But they can see a right-handed curveball. They're not going to see too many left-handed curveballs, but once they get to high school, they'll see some left-hand curveballs. So it'll help out with just the natural feel of, all right, when that pitch is coming to my head, I need to stay here because that's the one that's going to be right over the middle of a plate. So they get comfortable in the box. The other thing you can do with the machine, you'll see some hitters, they get scared when they face the fast pitchers because those are the guys that are usually wild. So they get a little bit timid back there. Maybe they get hit once, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, that hurt, Dad." So you see them once the pitch is thrown, they're taking a couple steps. So it gives them some velocity as well. So it helps out with the breaking ball, helps out with the velocity. But overall, tee-work, front toss, and just throwing over top is probably the best.
Teach your kids how to get hit. I teach my kids how to get hit.
You do have to learn how to get hit. Because there's a proper way. You'll see some young kids. As soon as the pitches come, they'll try to stop it or they'll turn into it. Next thing you know, they break their finger or whatever, and then all of a sudden they're timid for the next 2 months or maybe the rest of the summer because that kid was throwing pretty hard, and all of a sudden now they're scared when they're at the plate. Any other good ones?
right.
No? Anything to add, guys? No?
Very good. Hey guys,
Perfect.
this is some good stuff.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.